So I'm going to go to 1 Kings 19, 4 through 8. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a juniper tree. And he requested for himself that he might die, and said, "It is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers." As he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him and said unto him, "Arise and eat." And he looked at it, and behold, there was a cake taken on the coals. Bacon on the coals, and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drink, and laid him down again. And the angel of the Lord came the second time and touched him and said, "Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee." And he arose and did eat and drink, and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mount of God. And it came thither unto a cave, and lodged there. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him and said unto him, "What doest thou here, Elijah?" And he said, "I have been very jealous for the Lord of God of hosts, and for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, and thrown down the altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I, am left, and they seek my life to take it away." And he said, "Go forth and stand up on the mount before the Lord." And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great strong wind went through the mountains, and brake in pieces the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind, and after the wind and the earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake, and after the earthquake fire, but the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire a still small voice. And it was so, when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle, and went out and stood in the entering of the cave. And behold, there came a voice unto him, and said, "What doest thou here, Elijah?" And he said, "I have been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts, because the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thy altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I, am left alone. They seek my life to take it away." And the Lord said unto him, "Go, return thy way to the wilderness of Damascus, and thou comest and anoint Hazael to be king over Syria, and Jehu the son of Nimshi shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel, and Elijah the son of Shaphat and Abel Meholah shalt thou anoint to be prophet in thy room. And it shall come to pass that him that escapeth the sword of Hazael shall Jehu slay, and him that escapeth from the sword of Jehu shall Elijah slay. Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which hath not kissed him." So as you see, we continue on, and the Lord is showing Elijah, you are not alone. I have a remnant of people, and I have a remedy. We know that Elijah could not finish the job because he became fearful, and he let the fear come in and take over. So we see here that he had become deeply perplexed. He had become compromised, and even his mission had become compromised. He could not finish the job. So God had to raise somebody else up in his place, so that way the job can't get done. So many of us walk around sometimes believing that we are the only ones, and that there's none righteous, there's nobody else except for just maybe you. And we talked about that. We call that the Elijah syndrome. So I'm going to go over to John, and we're going to talk about the John complex. So I'm going to go over to Matthew 11:2-6. Now when John had heard in the prison the works of Christ, he sent 2 of his disciples and said unto him, "Art thou he that should come, or do we look for another?" Jesus answered unto him, "Go and show John again which all the things which you do hear and see. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. So I'm going to move over here to Luke 7. I'm going to start at 19. And John, And John calling and said unto him 2 of his disciples, and sent them, saying, Art thou he art thou he that should come, or look we for another? Then the man were to come unto him. They said, John the Baptist hath sent us unto thee. Art thou he that should come, or should we look for another? In that same hour he cured many of their infirmities and plagues and a lot of evil spirits. And unto many that were blind he gave sight. And Jesus answering unto them, Go your way and tell John the things that ye have seen and heard, and how the blind see, and the lame walk, and the lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear, and the dead are raised up. To the poor the gospel is preached, and blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. And when the messengers of John were departed, he began to speak unto the people concerning John. What ye went out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken in the wind? But what went ye out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they which are glorious apparelled and live delicately are in king's courts. But what went ye out for to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and much more than a prophet. He is, of whom it is written, Behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare thy way before thee. And I say unto you, among those that are born of women, there is not a greater prophet than John the Baptist. But he that is least in the kingdom of God is greater than he. And all the people that heard him and the publicans justified God, being baptized with the baptism of John. But the Pharisees and the lawyers rejected the counsel of God against themselves, being not baptized of him. And the Lord said, Whereunto then shall I liken the men of the generation? And to what are they like? They are like unto children sitting in the marketplace and calling to one another and saying, We have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have mourned to you, and ye have not wept. For John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine, and ye say, He hath the devil. And the Son of Man is come and eating and drinking, and ye say, Behold, a gluttonous man, and a wine barber, and a friend of publicans and sinners. But wisdom is justified of all her children. And now this is a continuance of part of what we were talking about with John and how he could not get over his position and how he had become perplexed and he had been compromised as well within himself because he was not an understanding that of the Christ must increase and I must decrease. So people at the time when he was on the scene and Christ was on the scene and it was Christ's time, John, previously people got confused because John was preaching so hard. They were like, well, is he the Christ? Or is this dude that's standing here before us that's coming and saying that he's the Christ? Which one is which? Is it John or Jesus? But Jesus had already declared that it was Jesus Christ, Christ himself that was the Christ. But people were still confused. And that was understandable because John was preaching and doing God's will the way that he felt that it was supposed to be. So by the time the real deal came around, it didn't look right. It looked out of order. That's what it looked like to people. They weren't in understanding of what was happening.
And unto many that were blind, he gave sight.
Then, I'm sorry. Go ahead if you want to.
Then Jesus answering said unto them, Go your way, and tell John what things ye have seen and heard, how the blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, to the poor the gospel is preached. And he blessed is he, whomsoever shall not be offended in me.
And when the messenger of John were departed, he began to speak unto the people concerning John. What went ye into the wilderness for to see? A reed shaken with wind? But what went ye out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they which are glorious apparelled, and live delicately, are in king's courts. But what have ye out for to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and much more than a prophet. For this is he of whom it is written, Behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare the way before thee. Brother Charles, 28. Yes, please.
For I say unto you, among those that are born of women, there is not a greater prophet than John the Baptist. But he that is least in the kingdom of God is greater than he.
And all the people that heard him and the publicans justified God, being baptized with the baptism of John. But the Pharisees and the lawyers rejected counsel of God against themselves, being not baptized of him. And the Lord said, Whereunto shall I liken the men of this generation? And to what they are like? Chapter 32.
And they are like unto children sitting in the marketplace and calling one to another and saying, We have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have more unto you, and ye have not pleased.
For John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine, and ye say, He hath a devil. The Son of Man is coming, eating and drinking, and ye say, Behold, a gluttonous man, and a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners. But wisdom is justified of all her children. Now, one of the reasons why I brought up John is because we know that John could not get the principle of increase. He must increase, I must decrease. He could not get over it. Now, God is sending people to help, to constantly help. Now, we know Christ is here already. So all the batons that got passed to the point where Christ is supposed to come in, those people served God and did what they were supposed to do. They didn't get it confused. They understood. When Christ comes, my time is to rest now. I can rest back easy because he's going to come and do a thing that I don't know what he's supposed to do, because after God has unctioned me, this is it. Whatever my duty and my job was, that's it. That's just like anybody that goes on a mission. And we can compare that today with people that might have governmental jobs or other duties, spies, military, so on. Once their mission is complete it's complete. When they're still seed on the seed, the person that might be in charge might say, what are you still doing here? Didn't I tell you to report back? So why are you still trying to interfere with this mission? He couldn't get over it. So we have this kind of thing, and I talked about all these different things this morning, but they all tie in. God has a remnant, and he has a remedy. No matter what we see from our leadership, he'll pluck whoever he got to pluck, and he'll put where he has to put. That's bottom line. If they can't get over themselves and where they're at, if they have a John complex, God has a remedy for that too. We see later on, John is sitting inside of this prison cell. Now we know John is mouthy. There was no doubt about it, because as soon as he came around, the Pharisees, they were scared of this man. It was what he was saying that was so powerful. So even he said something to a rod that got his head chopped off. See what I'm saying? God will provide. He got a remedy, and he's got a remnant. Okay? Thank you, John. You did a marvelous job. But he couldn't get over it. Wait a minute. John, Jesus is saying, you baptized me. How you don't know I'm the Christ? You're the one that said that I was. You were the one that told me that I was Christ. But I knew that I was all along. My mom and my daddy probably knew too. Because my mom had to come snatch me up out of this place with all these grown men at 12 years old, because I got to stand up here and tell them about themselves. My mom like, boy, you're going to get killed. Come on. You see what they're doing to all these other prophets and all these other people? Come on. So later time falls. And we see God is doing these things slowly, 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 slowly. He doesn't do it all quickly like we would like for things to happen. There's many things that still aren't being taught, or that we don't know, or that we don't understand. And some people, I've heard people say, well, it seems like leadership is getting away with this. No, they are not getting away with it. The word does not come back void. Whatever he set out to do is being read in church today. So the word is constantly going out over and over and over again. Somebody is constantly speaking it into existence. Even though we don't see it, it's happening. And another thing that he says, even though people say it seems like people are going to get away with this. Now, we say today, they'll get caught when they're slipping. We can understand that phrase. Christ says, I'm going to come like a thief in the night. So they're going to be unaware. They're going to be caught off guard. They're going to be doing that shicey scandalous thing that they might be doing, or the shicey scandalous thing that they might be saying. And they skating on the grace right now, thinking that they're going to get away with it and everything. And as soon as they think that they're fine, here he comes to reap that harvest. Just like we talked about the tares in the wheat. He says he's going to take one and he's going to bundle them up. He's going to bundle up the other one and burn it. So I just said, you only got two choices within that choice. Whatever position he gives to you, you hold that position no matter what. Somebody might not understand why you're still doing what you're doing. And the only thing you can tell them, look, this is kingdom principle. This is kingdom provision. This is something that you may or may not be an understanding of. And just like I said before, if you haven't even been taught that, why you're supposed to be at church, how you're supposed to come to church, what your duty might be. You might not have a duty at all. God is going to give you something in time when he can trust you with that kind of thing. He's trying to trust us all with his kingdom. If you take care of God's house, he's going to take care of your house. You take care of his vineyard, he's going to take care of your vineyard. And I say this all the time, freely you give, freely you shall receive. We're supposed to be loving and kind and charitable. We're supposed to be. When we come here, iron sharpening iron.
Amen. Amen.
I can't be your friend all the time. That's what I just said. I'll be your friend afterwards. But when we come in here, it's all bets off. Because I don't know what I'm going to have to say. I don't know sometimes. Sometimes I do. And I'm all right with it. It's a very difficult thing to say. You know, sometimes some of these things, we know some of these things are really hard to say in here. But he's not giving us these tools so that we can be walking around with just a wrench. Because some of us only know how to use just a wrench. But this right here is a box full of tools. Just like if you go on a job, you only know how to use the wrench. When you get there, the boss asks you, well, hey, you're going to be on this machine today. Do you know how to use these other tools? Really and truly, you only know how to use just the wrench. So something's going to get messed up because you don't have the understanding of these other tools. They'll notice after a while when something then got messed up. And they got to come running because some type of alarm then went off. They're going to know that you only know how to use the wrench. So another chapter that I brought out. People might say, well, I don't know how to do this. I don't know. I'm not in understanding. I have more questions. Now, Priscilla and Aquila, they had to pull Apollos to the side. Because Apollos had this just the wrench understanding. He didn't know there was other tools. And yes, he might have grown up in the Word. Mama might have went. Grandma, cousins, everybody might have went. But everybody only had a wrench. And they kept passing the wrench down. But there's other tools. So when he saw the hammer, he was like, what's that? I didn't know I was going to need pliers. I didn't know I was going to have to use a ratchet set. I didn't know. Now I'm comparing it to tools because you get what I'm saying? They had to pull him to the side and say, look, when you come into this thing, this is how God has it set. God has different principles. He's got different provisions. He's got different tools. You can't just walk around and give everybody a wrench when there's more tools to it than just the wrench. Maybe in your day, you might have just had the wrench and nobody else opened up the toolbox and used the other tools. And that's cool, that's fine. You make sure you save that wrench. I ain't telling you to throw it away. You hold on to it because they were still setting some type of foundation. But there's a more excellent way, just like how Priscilla and Aquila were telling Apollos, come here, let us teach you a more excellent way of God. Because there's something that you're not understanding. And you're going to walk out of here scarred. You're going to get church hurt. You're going to get faith hurt. You're going to get fellowship hurt. You're going to get scholar hurt. You're going to get all kinds of hurt because you're holding on just to that wrench. And you're not in understanding that there's other tools. And just like I said, iron sharpening iron. How do you know that your blade is dull? There might be somebody that God will bring to you and say, you know what? This is my servant. This is my soldier. This is my pastor. This is my minister. This is my missionary. This is my musician. This is my whoever body of Christ. You don't know what you're doing right now, so I'm going to make you run into that one person that don't care right now. I'm going to put whatever on their lips. They're going to say what they got to say, and that is it. We only got two choices. Receive or reject. And I tell people all the time,
If you do get a word on you, your job is not to stand there for 40 hours on the corner yelling and screaming, cussing a person out because they don't get your revelation. They don't understand what you're trying to teach them. Christ is already telling us, you can't even hear the word unless you be born again. You're not even going to be able to understand this. Not for real. So it's not to bash. It's not to even confront. Your job is to stay in whatever position God gives to you. If you understand that there's other tools, you won't be looking silly with just walking around with that wrench. You'll have exactly what you need. You'll have a full case instead of walking around with just the wrench. Because your understanding may not be the same as everybody else's understanding. But he will give you enough revelation to share that with somebody or to teach somebody else. Okay? But you must be fully yielded to God. Some of us want things, and I've talked about this before. Some of us want things, but the intention of our hearts are not pure. Somebody asked me one time, how come a person may not get as many members as they want? How could they build it up? How can they do that? If the intentions of your heart is not pure, you will not get no members. That's the answer. You won't get any because he already know your pattern. He already know what you're going to do and what you're going to say. So you can stop that right now. He already know. Now, a lot of people might say, well, okay, I want this thing very bad. Stop asking just for the thing. Ask the Lord to get you prepared for the thing, to get you ready for that thing. A lot of people, they want to get married, or they want to have children, or they want to have a house, or they want to have a car. He's watching you and how you manage things right now. He knows how you will manage the things that he will give to you. He's an understanding. Firstly, you are here to serve me. I have a duty for you. I have a job for you. You listening to all your other friends, them jobs aren't lasting.
See them chewing on some wine, something, lapping up some honey and popping locusts in their mouth. No! Ooh, no! But the thing is, he knew the word of God and he knew what man must do to be saved. And that was his mission. He was dedicated to that. And this was all this was his purpose. This was his, I like that. This was his wrench. Now, you might not like his wrench, but he was going to give you the wrench wherever he was. And this was something that a lot of people could not accept. And some people did. And ended up following Christ because of John the Baptist. But there was a problem. He had been alone for so long and run across so many crazy folk. He began to become unsure about what he had already seen and experienced. I know what that means. To think you know something, and then later on in life, to find out or begin to doubt what you earlier knew for sure. Am I the only one? Me and John the Baptist? I just knew. You couldn't have told me anything different. Because I knew God was moving and I knew God was doing this or doing that. And then later on, I find out that it was more complex than I originally thought. There were other people involved that I did not see. There were other things that were happening that I was not aware of. And so I began to wonder about my earlier position. And this is where John the Baptist is. But he doesn't want to wonder. He wants to be sure. So he doesn't keep it to himself. He asks the question, are you the one? I already know he already knew. He prayed for him. But he prayed for a whole lot of folks. He already. I've gotten to that place now where he's older now and he's not sure. He's not certain. He's not positive. You can reach that place where you're not exactly sure.
Yes.
But when you know that you know that you know that you know that you've been saved, can't nobody take it away from you. Can't nobody lie about what happened to you. Can't nobody change the way you behave because of how he came into your life. When you know that you know. Go.
Amen.
There is no. When you go to the stoplight and the light turns red, you know you're supposed to stop. Nobody's gonna take that from you. Hey, glory to God. When you know that when you know the store says open at 7 p.m. and you're trying to get inside that Walmart, you know you ain't gonna show up at 5:30. And this is the lesson that we see today.